Find the derivative of y equals 4x times the square root of x plus the fourth root of x, quantity. Then evaluate y prime is 16. Y here is made up of the product of two functions, 4x times the square root of x plus the fourth root of x. One option is to use the product rule. Another option is to physically take the product if possible. That's often going to make the derivative easier to find. And we are able to find the product directly here because we can distribute the 4x in. Before I do that, I may write the roots as fractional exponents. It'll make it easier to distribute the 4x in. 4x times the x to the first power and square root, 1 over 2, first power and second root, plus the fourth root of x to the first power, x to the first power 1 over the fourth root 4, x to the 1/4. Now the x that's going to distribute in is x to the 1, and when we go and multiply like bases with different exponents, you add the exponents. When I distribute that 4x to the 1 in, it will give me 4x to the 1 plus 1/2 plus 4x to the 1 plus 1/4. And now we will add 1 plus 1/2, which is 2 halves plus 1/2, and 1 plus 1/4, which is 4/4 plus 1/4. So y is 4x to the 2 plus 1, 3 halves, plus 4x to the 4 plus 1, 5 fourths. Now we have terms that are combined by addition, and these terms can be taken individually for the derivative and add the results together. Each one is a power rule. Let's find the derivative now. Y prime will be 4 times, bring the 3 halves down and subtract 1 from it. I will call that 2 halves for the common denominator, plus 4 times, bring the 5/4 down, x raised to the 5/4 minus 1, which I will call 4/4. Now we can simplify this a little bit. The 4 can be thought of as 4 over 1. 4 times 3 is a 12 over 1 times 2 is a 2, 12 over 2. X raised to the 3 minus 2, which is a 1 over 2. Plus, we can think of that 4 as a 4 over 1. 4 times 5 is 20 over 1 times 4, which is 4. X to the 5 minus 4, which is 1 over 4. I will take one more step to rewrite this, because 12 divided by 2 is a 6, and x to the 1/2 is the second root or square root of x to the first power, 6 square root of x. Plus 20 divided by 4 is a 5. X to the 1/4 is the fourth root of x to the first power, the fourth root of x. It looks a lot nicer writing it that way. There's our derivative, y prime. The next thing is to evaluate y prime of 16. Y prime of 16 means to plug a 16 in for each of the x's. So 6 times the square root of 16 plus 5 times the fourth root of 16. The square root of 16 is a 4. The fourth root of 16, one way to think of it, fourth root is square root and then square root again. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of that is a 2. Or another way to think of it is what number raised to the fourth power gives you 16. It's not a 1, because 1 to the fourth is 1. 2 to the fourth actually is 16, so the fourth root of 16 is a 2. 3 to the fourth is 81. It's way too big to be a 16. Fourth root of 16 is a 2, whichever way you look at it. 6 times 4 is a 24. 5 times 2 is a 10. 24 plus 10 gives us 34.